Okay, so you know how it is, right? You decide, this is it. This is the year I'm finally going to learn to code. And then you see all the different coding languages and all the frameworks, and honestly, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, where do you even begin?
Well, that's what we're diving into today. We found this cool blog post called 10 Effective Ways to Learn to Code with AlgoCademy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's packed with tips and tricks to make that coding journey a little smoother.
Right. Like having a roadmap can make all the difference.
Exactly. And this post doesn't just throw you into the code, it really emphasizes figuring out your goals first, which I thought was smart.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like anything else. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, right?
That's a great point. And the post dives into choosing the right programming language based on what you want to achieve, which is huge EE, because so many people just flock to whatever language is trendy at the moment, without thinking about their actual goals.
Guilty as charged. I've definitely been drawn to the shiny new thing before.
Chuckles, we've all been there. But this article focuses on 3 really powerful languages: JavaScript, Python, and Java.
And for good reason, right? Those are the heavy hitters in the coding world.
Absolutely. They each have their own strengths, which is why aligning them with your goals is so important.
So let's break it down. What are some of the key takeaways about each language?
Well, the article really highlights JavaScript as a great starting point, especially if you're into web development.
Makes sense. It's the language that brings websites to life, right? All those interactive elements that users love.
Exactly. It's like the backbone of front-end development.
Yeah.
But it's also versatile enough to handle back-end stuff, too.
Oh, wow. So it's like the Swiss Army knife of coding languages.
Pretty much. And the demand for JavaScript developers is through the roof, so it's a pretty safe bet career-wise, even if you're not 100% sure about your specialization yet.
That's reassuring, especially for someone just starting.
Right. Now, if you're fascinated by data science, crunching numbers, and maybe even dabbling in AI, Python would be your go-to.
Okay, that sounds right up my alley. I've always been intrigued by data analysis, and Python seems so powerful for that.
It really is. It's like having a superpower for making sense of massive data sets, and it's becoming increasingly important in pretty much every industry.
So it's a good skill to have in your back pocket, even if you're not going full-on data scientist.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is that both JavaScript and Python are known for being relatively beginner-friendly, which is a huge plus.
That's a relief to hear. I think what's always intimidated me is the learning curve. Is it really as steep as it seems?
Every language has its quirks, for sure. But one thing that really stood out in this AlgoCademy article is the importance of a structured learning environment.
Okay, I can see how that would make a difference. It's like you wouldn't try to learn a new language just by flipping through a dictionary, right?
Exactly. You need that grammar, that structure, that guidance to really make sense of it all.
And I'm guessing that's where AlgoCademy comes in?
You got it. The article emphasizes how AlgoCademy provides that structured curriculum, starting with the fundamentals and gradually building up to more complex concepts.
Okay, so it's not just throwing you in the deep end and hoping you swim.
Not at all. It's more like they're giving you floaties, swimming lessons, and maybe even a lifeguard on duty, just in case.
That's reassuring, because I've definitely tried those Learn to Code in 24 Hours crash courses, and it just feels like information overload.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Right, you're just left there feeling overwhelmed and discouraged. So I'm curious, how does AlgoCademy approach this structured learning? What does it actually look like?
Well, they start with the absolute basics, like variables and data types, which are like the building blocks of any programming language.
Okay, so it's like laying the foundation before you start building the skyscraper.
Precisely. And then they gradually introduce more advanced concepts, like object-oriented programming, which can be a bit more abstract.
So it's a step-by-step approach, building on the knowledge you've gained at each level.
Exactly. And they make it fun along the way, which is crucial.
Yeah, because let's be honest, staring at lines of code all day can get a little dry.
Totally. But AlgoCademy incorporates interactive exercises, quizzes, and even real-world projects to keep you engaged.
Okay, so it's not just about reading about code, it's about actually writing code and seeing it come to life.
Exactly. That's how you really solidify your learning and build that confidence.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between reading about how to bake a cake and actually getting your hands dirty in the kitchen.
And I'm guessing that's where things get really interesting.
Oh, absolutely. The article raves about AlgoCademy's interactive tutorials.
I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, it's like having a coding buddy right there with you. but without the judgmental stares when you inevitably make a mistake.
Okay, I need to hear more about these interactive tutorials, what makes them so special.
So, imagine this. You're presented with a coding challenge, maybe building a simple calculator or something.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You got step-by-step instructions guiding you, but you're writing real code in real time, and the system is checking your work as you go.
Oh, wow, so it's like instant feedback.
Exactly. If you make a mistake, you know it right away, and there are hints and explanations to help you get back on track.
That's amazing. So it's like having a coding tutor looking over your shoulder, but without the pressure.
Precisely. And the article highlights another cool feature. In addition to the text-based tutorials, AlgoCademy incorporates video content.
Oh, I can see how that would be helpful, especially for visual learners like me.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need to see a concept in action to really grasp it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they cover a wide range of topics with their videos, from explaining complex algorithms to demonstrating how to build specific features.
That's awesome. It sounds like they've really thought of everything to make the learning process as engaging and effective as possible.
They really have. And here's another thing I found interesting. The article talks about how AlgoCademy goes beyond just teaching you the syntax of a language.
Oh, so it's not just about memorizing lines of code.
Not at all. They delve into the really important stuff like algorithms and data structures.
Okay, I have to admit, those are terms I've heard thrown around, but I'm not entirely sure I understand what they mean.
That's totally fair. They can be a bit intimidating at first, but they're really the heart and soul of good coding.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are algorithms and data structures, and why are they so important?
Sure. So think of algorithms like recipes. They're basically step-by-step instructions that tell the computer how to solve a specific problem.
Okay, that makes sense. So if you want your computer to say sort of list of numbers, you need an algorithm for that.
Exactly. And there are different algorithms for different tasks, each with its own set of instructions, and some are more efficient than others.
So it's not just about getting the job done, it's about doing it in the smartest, most efficient way possible.
You got it. Now, data structures are all about how you organize your data, the ingredients, if you will, so that your algorithms can work their magic effectively.
It's like choosing the right container for your ingredients. You wouldn't store soup in a sieve, right?
Precisely. And just like with algorithms, there are different data structures for different purposes, each with its own strengths and weaknesses.
So it's all about choosing the right tool for the job, whether that's an algorithm or a data structure.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that AlgoCademy doesn't just teach you about these concepts, they actually help you prepare for coding interviews.
Oh man, don't even get me started on coding interviews.
Oh no, right? They could be brutal.
Even when you think you know your stuff, they find a way to make you sweat.
Tell me about it. But that's why I think this aspect of AlgoCademy is so valuable.
So they're like, hey, we're not just going to teach you to code, we're going to teach you how to ace those interviews too.
Exactly. And according to this article, they do that by providing mock interviews and tips on explaining your thought process clearly, which is huge E in an interview setting.
Because it's one thing to be able to solve a problem, but you also need to be able to articulate what you're doing and why, right?
Exactly. It's about communicating your technical skills effectively, which is a skill in itself.
And AlgoCademy helps you hone that skill, which is pretty awesome.
They really do. They prepare you for the whole package, which is invaluable in today's job market.
So we've got the structured learning, the interactive tutorials, the emphasis on algorithms and data structures, and even the interview prep.
Don't forget the real-world projects.
Oh, right. The article mentioned that too, didn't it? How they encourage you to build things you're passionate about.
Yep. Because one of the best ways to solidify your learning is to apply it to something you actually care about.
It's like anyone can learn the basics of carpentry, but it's another thing to build something beautiful and functional that you're proud to show off.
Exactly. And having those real-world projects in your portfolio can make all the difference when you're applying for jobs.
Speaking of which, the article also touched on the importance of community, which I think is often overlooked.
It's so true. Learning to code can feel isolating, especially if you're doing it on your own.
Right. You're staring at a screen, battling error messages, and it's easy to feel like you're the only one struggling.
Totally. But AlgoCademy emphasizes the community aspect, with forums and online groups where learners can connect, ask questions, and support each other.
So you don't feel like you're on this coding journey alone.
Exactly. And sometimes just knowing that other people are going through the same challenges can make all the difference.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that. And it's so true for coding. Having that community can provide motivation, inspiration, and even job leads down the line.
That's amazing. So AlgoCademy sounds like it ticks all the boxes.